Perfect. So thank you. Welcome everyone to our fourth session of the OLS Community Spotlight Series. This has been really an inspiring hour of my week. So I'm very happy to be here a week more. This week we are going to have, well, me as both host and chair. We will have Sabrina Lopez and Karoune, Magak Adell, and Virginia Gracia Alonso. I am going to let you all introduce yourselves, okay? I'm just going to pass on the order when the time comes. I just want to remind everyone that we will be working under OLS Code of Conduct. It is there linked in our Framapad. If you have anything to report, please just give a shout to myself or to our team email. Just to remind you, we are here just to share ideas, discuss, see what can be even improved from the OLS perspective. So just as long as we keep a respectful tone, we are here as friends to learn from each other. We do love emojis. Please do use them. Speakers, I think they are, they appreciate them while they are talking. So don't be shy. And as I said, like, feel free to sign in, share what's filled your heart in 2025 that you like to bring into 2026 as well. Share any questions that might pop up while speakers are talking. As I said, we will go through the talks all at once, and then we will have a longer time for discussion and Q&A. And with that, I'm going just to hand over to Sabrina, so you can start. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here today to share my journey with the OLS community. Let me share my screen. I think that you can see it right. Okay, it's fine. Yes. Well, thank you. And I will introduce myself as I share my journey. So, how it started. So I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I imagine that all you can hear that my native language is not the English one. I talk Spanish. And at that time, when this journey started, I was an undergraduate biologist and working interdisciplinary with other fellows in physics, musicians, computologists, a lot of people, and start my academic path here in Argentina. I can, there. So, well, I was conducting my research. I encountered some barriers and challenges. And for example, the use in the laboratory of proprietary software that we can afford the license, for example, or we can afford the journal subscriptions where the meaningful research were published. So some of these challenges were related to having low resources, low money to invest in these things, but other challenges were more related to process and good practices, like, for example, how can we share what we know? How can we connect with other laboratories doing the same research or with the same questions? And it was a huge movement around the reproducibility crisis that was going into science. So in 2021, I started my postdoc, and my mentor, Laura Asion, put all these things together as I never seemed like together before. I wasn't connecting the dots, and introduced me to open science. As Dorothy entered to the Oz world, everything has a new color, a new sense. I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one to have to overcome, these challenges. And it was a rule of principles related to open science that count for everything that I was encountered, and much more too. And with that in mind, my journey took another turn. In 2022, in the 5th OLS cohort, I participate with another members of a project called Argentinian Public Health Research on Data Science, Artificial Intelligence for Epidemic Prevention, or as we call it, for RIS, RFI. And we have this challenged about how open our project. We thought and we think today that it's a meaningful project, but has an issue that as we work with electronic health records. So this is a kind of data very sensitive, and openness is in conflict with sensitive data. It's a hard topic. So the our path in this cohort was to uh, resolve this dilemma. Spoiler alert, we didn't resolve it, the dilemma. It's a still ongoing dilemma in all the world. But thanks to our lovely mentor, Maya, we have too much in mind, put it in something much more concrete that was we don't need to resolve everything around this dilemma. We can work, for example, in one process. This process is the onboarding process to new members to our project, because openness requires collaboration, and collaboration needs a clear path to do it, and to do it right and in an openly manner. So we start working in an onboarding process. That's um, a still work process that, thank you to the Invest in Open Infrastructure, we can continue until today. And I just want to share you that passing from OLS fifth cohort made me know that I have meaningful things to say, that I can have a voice, that my voice can be heard, and not only because they ask for feedback, but because they show me a new ecosystem of organizations, community of practice, things that I never heard before. And they not only encourage me, they support me to be applicant in several calls. And Emma, Malvika, Yo, they heard me, they give me feedback about my applications. None of them resolved, but it was a journey, it was a practice to be where I'm here now. And in the past years, for example, I was a mentor and a facilitator in the past cohorts of OLS, and you can read me sometimes in the Slack channel. Um, I was, as I said, a grantee in Invest in Open Infrastructure, and I have the opportunity to be a collaborator in Metadocencia and be part of two big and meaningful projects to me. That was the contextualization into Spanish of the materials of NASA Open Science 101, and the project Catalyst, that was a project that give cloud infrastructure to communities of practice or research groups working in health in the global south. This means Latin America and Africa in this case. So that's how I start knowing a lot of people and start to have confidence in me. And now I currently a fellow and an events and gathering committee member of the CSID network. The CSID network stands for Climate Sensitive Infectious Disease Network. And as a fellow, I have a project to grow and catalyze a community of practice here in Argentina, but in all Latin America, around the climate, the infectious disease, and the open source tools that we can collaborate. I always misspell it, collaboratively make these these tools to improve the models here in our region. And please stay tuned for our coming regional convenings. If you're interested in these topics, we are outlining the 2026 regional convenings. So we hope you have one of these convenings near your home. And if not, we can still share online. So that's my presentation, and I will open to any question or thoughts after the other speaker's presentation. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sabrina. That was like such a great journey to to see and see how much you've grown and how much you've achieved and you're achieving already. It was great to see. Thank you so much for sharing. As Sabrina has said, yeah, we'll take the questions after everyone has spoken. But please, if you are like me and you forget your own questions, please feel free to write them down in the promo pad. If not, yeah, just use your brain as other people do. We'll have Emma next. Emma, you ready?
Hello, I'm ready. Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. There we are. Can you see that, Sarah? Yeah, good. Hello, everybody. I'm Emma Karoune. I'm currently a researcher, principal researcher at the Alan Turing Institute, and also Cass is here, who is my fellow founder and worker at the RCM Cooperative, which is a new venture we started last year. I want to speak today about my sort of a very personal journey in OLS. I suppose I should start. I've made this kind of wavy first slide, and I'll go on to a bit more of a timeline, because actually OLS was a moment for me in my career that started off many different paths. So I'm going to talk about one particular path, which is the one that most people don't really know me for, because most people know my work now through the Turing Way project and at the Alan Turing Institute, and even the Software Sustainability Institute kind of side as well. But the other side, which is my research background, which is in archaeology, most people don't really hear very much about that unless you go to archaeology conferences and hear me speaking there, which is not most of you. So actually, very much like Sabrina, my journey with open science actually began at university when I was particularly doing my PhD. And I did a PhD at University College London in the UK at the Institute of Archaeology. And it's in paleoecology, so looking at very tiny microscopic plants from archaeological sites. And surprise, surprise, I thought that some of the methods in my discipline might be a little bit questionable, definitely not reproducible, I thought at the time. I was like, oh, not sure about this method. So as part of my PhD, I actually did quite a big methodological study on someone's method that was applied routinely across my discipline. And yeah, surprise, surprise, I found, yeah, not reproducible at all, their work. And that the method wasn't very good. So basically it became my kind of thing that I was always looking at methods, and I wanted people to actually publish their methods properly, publish their data properly. And so it sort of became a thing that I really wanted to happen in research. After my PhD, I actually went off to out of academia, and I actually worked in teaching for about 10 years. I kind of got a bit stuck there. And actually I got a bit bored of teaching after about 10 years, but I wanted to come back to being an academic. So I started working on archaeology projects with Historic England, which you can see on the slide. I found out about open life science when it was the pandemic, so in 2020. And I suppose I should move slides, actually, thinking about it. Here's my timeline. So I was actually in the second cohort of open life science, and I was just kind of upskilling myself, kind of coming back into academia. And at that time, obviously, it was the pandemic kind of happening. Everything was online. So I was actually finding it quite good, because there was a lot of online stuff to like upskill myself in open science, because I wanted that really to be my, that and data science. I wanted that to be my specialism within my discipline. And I came across open life science, and I actually remember having a online meeting with Malvika and Yo and Bernice and talking about my project, because I didn't really know what it was about, OLS at the time. And I thought, is this something I should be doing? And they were like, yeah, this is perfect for you. Like, come and join us. So I did. And I brought this project about looking at, so it was called Assessing Open Science in Phytolith Research. Phytoliths are the little plants that I look at, basically, from archaeological sites. And I was doing a study of all of the sort of lots of publications in my discipline to look at how they were sharing data, how they were applying open science practices. Surprise, surprise, no one did it or is still doing it very well. And this kind of sparked a whole lot of work for me in my discipline, which I have to say OLS was really a sort of amazing point in my career because they, Malvika, Yo and Bernice actually helped me with that project. They actually got me a really good mentor who was specializing in fair data, which was the thing that I was really interested in. And actually, I ended up at the end of my first project with OLS actually applying for funding, European funding. And actually, I won the funding. So it was really good. It was like a catalyst for actually a funded project. So it was a really, really great thing. So I brought together some people who I was working with. I was able to kind of get some funding and then have this funded project, which you can see on the slide here. So we actually got the funding fairly quickly after I'd done my OLS 2 project. And we actually brought the whole team into OLS 3 so that we could kind of upskill the whole team in using things like GitHub repositories, in kind of more digital methods and open science, obviously, in general. And what we've kind of used this project for is really to, I suppose the word catalyze a movement within our discipline, an open science movement. So you can see here, we ran this project called the Fair Phytolith Project, where we did assessment of more data that was out there to look at data sharing and how it could be, fair data principles could be applied. One of the really important things that we did within our discipline is we actually formed an international committee within our International Phytolith Society. And so we actually now have a committee called ICOPS, which is the International Committee on Open Phytolith Science. And that's still going now. And that committee is a much larger committee than the actual project group that I formed in kind of OLS 3. And we've been successful getting further funding for things like training. So the committee really has been focusing on bringing the results of the Fair Phytolith project actually into things like resources. So we created an open publishing guide for our discipline. We also have created lots of resources. We've been particularly focused on translating our resources because we are a very global community. We have a lot of researchers that are based in China and also South America and Europe. And actually translating all of our resources into particularly Spanish and Mandarin has been a thing that we've done throughout. We've actually put on training, like our second lot of training in 2023 was multilingual. So we actually had translators in Spanish and Mandarin as the speaker was speaking in, and training people on GitHub in English. Mostly that was me training in English, training in open publishing, and we had these translators as people. And actually we had a very high attendance for that. Some of them were like over 100 people. So it was a very, very highly attended course. So yeah, so you can actually find those translations, I think some of them online, particularly the Spanish ones. On our YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I'm waffling a lot here, so I'll keep going. So basically we've been with the committee, the wider committee, which is now about 10 people. We've been trying to kind of spread the message of open research across our discipline and actually more widely across archaeology. We have written quite a few papers. We've done a community survey that's come out as a paper. We have been trying to get some more money. So we've done some grant writing, but unfortunately been unsuccessful, but that's the way grants go. And last year we were really focusing on seminars. So bringing people from our community that were actually applying open science practices and actually getting them to present some work and then talk to have lots of questions and answer kind of sessions. The other success that we've had is our conference now, which happens every 2 years. We have like a standing workshop around open science at that conference every year, every time. And last year we ran a round table, which was actually really helpful for us to think about focusing our future work on the committee. And this year we're kind of renewing the governance of our committee, renewing members, and actually going to focus more on resources. I did actually last year. I feel quite embarrassed about it, actually. I did win a prize last year. And for my work, particularly in open science in my community, this actually was not actually with the Fight of the Community, but the wider Archaeobotanical Conference sort of committee. And yeah, so I won that, but I feel like I've accepted it for the rest of the committee, because obviously, yes, I was the catalyst for starting it, but actually I haven't done all the work. So I kind of definitely accepted it on behalf of all the committee. But I think that's been a really good thing that we've been recognised for actually, I think, changing things within our discipline. And I have really started to see that when I've been reviewing people's papers and things like that. Actually, we can see that there is a change that has happened because of this work that came from OLS, I think. And then, so that's like one stream of my work. I just wanted to kind of mention the other open communities that I'm a part of. I mostly, for all of these, I mostly blame Malvika and Yo for all of these things that I get up to. So the Turing Way is definitely something that I do a lot. I know a lot of you here are part of the Turing Way. I'm still organising the book dash, so look out for that, because the adverts for joining that are coming soon. And obviously I still work at the Alan Turing Institute doing community building. And we've now got this research community management cooperative that I know some of you here are also involved in, where we're trying to really professionalise the role of community managers within kind of the research ecosystem and the work that people do in their communities, making sure that that is recognised. I'm also an SSI fellow. I have to say Malvika's fault is that as well. She told me to apply for that. So I told you Malvika's to blame for everything that I do. And I now actually sit on the Hidden Ref Committee, which I think is part of this SSI and OLS journey, where I'm now focusing a lot of my work on really recognising different roles, recognising different types of contributions within research, rather than just the academic pathway. I'm really doing a lot of research around different careers and actually how we can professionalise these different types of research careers. And the Hidden Ref is a campaign within the UK to recognise wider inputs and hidden roles within research. So I've become part of that on their committee. And then also through the SSI fellowship, I became an Elixir fellow, which Elixir is a sort of European research infrastructure group. I'm part of the UK node, and OLS is part of the UK node as well. And I represent OLS by leading one of the focus groups, which is around professionalising careers in research infrastructure. And I'm hoping that actually that is going to actually become a community within Elixir. So actually become like have some paid positions within that community group and kind of make that wider across Elixir. So that's something I'm working on at the moment. So yeah. I want to say thank you to all the people here. So Cass is here, who's been brilliant. And thank you very much to Malvika and Bernice and Yo for getting me started along all these different pathways. Yeah, thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Emma. It's just so nice to see how different paths, come to the same place, and at the same time that different paths or the same path also like diverges, and then we meet again. It's it's very nice to see your journey and all that you've doing. And congrats again on the prize. Come on, you shouldn't be.
It's just embarrassing getting prizes.
But it's well deserved. So yeah. Any other questions or comments for Emma? Again, like feel free to just unmute yourself afterwards or pop them in the Framapad. With this, I'm going to hand over to Magak. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, you are here. I was just checking that you could stay in the call. Perfect. So I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, and it's nice to see all of you once again. Thank you for the presentation, Sabrina, and also Emma. I was also part of the Turing Way when you are developing. So glad to see you. Yeah. So I was part of the OLS module, the second cohort, and at that time I just cleared my undergraduate. And the story I'm going to share with you, I just felt that I do it in form of a story. So it is something that was actually encouraged by the learning that we got from by the learning that I got from the Open Life Science. And it made me to be passionate about having the Open Life Science in Kenya. So this story you can read with me, the courtesy. This story was made courtesy of OLS, beneficiary training of Open Life Science program, which is to create a future where science and research is shared openly. And just from that, this story is made courtesy of one of the members that I've been working with. She's also present in the call. She's called Alila Esther. She has been aiding in us integrating science with storytelling, and also the work on videography and also cartography, and the data that we are doing to make it open. We are developing into to ensure that it's owned by the community for the purposes of Open Life Science. So this is just, I'm a marine geologist by profession. And from the background video, you can see an estuary. That's just one of the rivers as it's entering the Indian Ocean. That is on the Kenyan side. Yeah, so it was just more of an imagery to what OLS is doing in making Open Life Science to enter various career paths to ensure more of data accuracy and also much of awareness when it comes to Open Life. So this is just a video of us. I'll just play it. This is just. And yeah, just to pause a little, this is some parts of Kenya. This is how people are doing fishing without the data technology. And I'm going to not only the data technology, but even including the safety at sea. And I'm going to just share with you a story of how this has developed throughout a session. Yeah, so I will share with you the link to the story map so that all of us can access it. So that is the life prior to Open Life Science training cohort. Then after joining the training cohort, I asked myself that what can I do, especially to my community? And these are some of the research. I entitled it Gear Swap. These are some of the work that we've done just to improve this. And we are actually, it made us to develop a grassroots community initiative called Synapse. And our main aim is to integrate life science to impact local fishing communities or local coastal community for climate resilience. And this is some of the work that we've done. I think you can see my screen. We've done a bit of research and innovation. And just down here, I'm going to show you how we've been doing this. And we've also been doing training and upskilling. That is around 26.2%, and also women and economic empowerment, and also policy engagement. Yeah. So besides that, we are also focusing much on coastal community household engagement. This is to raise awareness because we realize that the main case, especially with the element of data, is that most of the fishermen, if you give them this, maybe the tide gauges, or you attach a sensor to their boat, most of the time they're actually most of the thing that will come into their mind is that they are being trapped. So what we have been doing as CNAP is that coastal community household engagement. And this is we just started it, but we are divided into groups. So we divide ourselves into groups and we walk across these coastal households. Yeah, so we walk door to door in this coastal community household. And this is one group that has actually done 37.9%. There's one that has done 12.1%. There's one that has done 25.8%, and there's one that has done 24.2%. This is just still the onset, and you can see that our impact is mostly targeting training and upscaling. On the other hand, women economic empowerment, and also policy engagement and management planning for coastal community resilience. So this is more of a map photo, and I'm just going to show you what has been happening in various platforms and events that we've engaged in after what we actually gained from the training of Open Life Science. This is so when I click that, it takes you to the exact point of the world where this happened. And this is impact areas in ocean and community. So under this, we were making a discussion in making ocean technology accessible for local communities to help in monitoring, prediction of extreme weather event, and making open source ocean technology. Because this has been a major debate, especially for those who are working with data. Yeah, so you can see this. This is just along the shores of Namibia, and you can see the photo there. That is me presenting with the various colleagues under a project called Coast Predict. And besides that, this is just a sunset view and a magnificent view of sunset at the peak in Garcia Hills. That is in Lake Victoria. Those are some of the parts that we've been working on. And this is where we were promoting multi-sectoral collaboration across the global north and the global south for marine conserved areas. And this is Muda Island that is located in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. You can see it on the map. And this is just as I was telling you from the first video, showing how the fishing is taking place and there's no consideration. So from that lifestyle into now a panel room. And on this, we were discussing Africa Ocean Regenerative Week with one of the with one of the foundations that is based in Italy, and also Stanford Center for Ocean. Stanford Center for Ocean, and this was organized under the Ocean Innovative Africa, and we were promoting local innovation to boost local resilience. That is me at the center with two of the colleagues. And this is also where we were presenting on open source, presenting on the fishing vessels, ocean observing network, as an international interdisciplinary group dedicated to advancement of ocean observing in partnership to promote inclusive development practices among the fishing communities. And this is some of the work where we are now working with the indigenous community, that is the indigenous fishermen and local community members, in mapping potential fishing zones and integrating this with large model integration with indigenous knowledge. And this was happening in Pate Island in Lamu, Kenya, in Western Indian Ocean. Yeah, and this is just the result of the this conservation, conversations that we have been having, especially on sensor development technology, just under the element of open life. And we are now supporting local, and this is a partnership that we made with the Stanford Center for Ocean Solution and also CMCC that is based in Italy. And this is a CO2 removal discussion. This is a conference that was happening in Nairobi, Kenya, with the under the official launch of Marine Carbon Removal Kenya in Nairobi. And all this is to promote Kenya's thriving marine carbon dioxide removal industry and to unlock the true potential of this. So this is just one of the talents that we saw under the element of when we make our science to be open. We are talking about open life science. Then you realize that it now ceases from only being a thing of the scientists, but there's also an element of the community. So this we were presenting, and actually after the presentation, one of the ladies drew this. Yeah, and it just shows the element of integration of arts and ocean technology to boost local talent, and this was in Pretoria, in South Africa. Yeah, so this is some of the integrations that we've been making, and I'm just going to play this video. It's a short video that talks on ocean alkalinity enhancement, and the voice note was done by one of my colleagues who is present in the call. You can listen.
I don't think we can hear the sound, Magak. Or maybe, yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, it's okay. But you can share the link if you want afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Apologies for that. I will actually share the link.
Okay.
And apologies that you cannot hear the sound. So I'll actually just go ahead and share the link. Yeah. So these are the additional impact indicators that we tend to achieve by the year 2027. So one of them being research and innovation, having 5 research papers, 1 international workshop building, replication, partnerships, and also we intend to cover 200 households across 9 communities. That is in Western Indian Ocean, and training and upscaling of about 300 fishers and 20 indigenous students, and also policy engagement and management planning, and 2 management plans, and under 200 by 200 square kilometer of conservation area. That's what we have in Pate Island, and also increase women economic empowerment to 50 female heads of household, because in South Globe, you realize that women play a very critical role, especially when it comes to mariculture support system to help in the food security in South Globe. Yeah, so all this is under the courtesy of what we learned in the Open Life Science program, and it led us, it pushed us actually to build this, and we are still just we have just begun, but we are optimistic that through further collaboration, we will build something strong that is diverse, and also that is promoting more of inclusive development and practices when it comes to open life science. Yes, so that is all, and also to share with you that through this, actually, at the beginning of this year, I found an honor to serve in the International Carbon Ocean Network for Early Careers, where I'm a focal point for Western Indian Ocean. So thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Magak. Amazing. That was great. Feel free to share any links that you might have handy or that you might want to share. So with this, I'll hand over to Virginia. I have Sabrina just in front of me.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, well. First, my apologies because I didn't have an amazing presentation like all the previous persons did. So mine was going to be a little bit more deconstructed and just a little bit of talking about my journey in OLS. So happy to see familiar faces, but for those who don't know me, my name is Virginia. I'm a marine biologist from Argentina, although I'm currently living in the UK for a couple of years now. And I found so many similarities with some of the stories that were shared today. So coming from Latin America, like Sabrina said, there are so many challenges in terms of barriers with the language, with accessibility, with reproducibility. So that is something that I think many of us shared in many countries, not only in the global south. And I was actually back in 2021 finishing my PhD, looking for a job, looking for funding, trying to see what we could do. And I started talking with friends and colleagues. And why we realized that we were all going through the same challenges, going through the same processes. And sometimes it was like, oh, this person knows about this funding and this other person knows about this. And we were just like, why should we depend on someone knowing someone or someone having heard about this funding opportunity? And we were really struggling with the fact that at the end of the day, it seemed like you had to be lucky to be able to find a job or funding. So that was something that was quite bothering us in the back of the head. And we will stick to that for a second. But also during my PhD, I was lucky enough that I met so many amazing communities of practice, like the Art Ladies, the Carpentries, the Turing Way was one of them as well. And it seems like once you know one, it's a one-way trip, and you start like joining so many other communities. And you hear about these amazing projects, and of course, we're here because we want to be part of that change, right? Of doing things more open, more collaboratively. So, and sometimes you're sort of pushed to also be part of it, which it's a good strategy. But no, really, really lucky that these spaces occur and exist. And I don't remember which of the communities was from the one I heard about OLS. But with this group of friends, we decided to participate in one of the cohorts. We are cohort number 8, actually. I was just checking. So where we decided to bring this idea of having maybe a network for early careers in marine sciences, trying to gather information about funding, about opportunities, about knowing each other, like how could we help each other? Maybe you know how to do some analysis, or this person knows another. So it was really, really fun to be part of this process while we were creating the network, because it was so useful to understand what things we should consider. We had amazing mentors which gave us really, really good advices, which I will share after in the, I will also copy them in the share link. But I don't know if you feel represented with this. One of the things they told us is start doing small stuff that you can actually finish. It's good to have a project and something big, but it's true. We felt really overwhelmed at the beginning. And I think even nowadays, I also struggle with, okay, doing small stuff once at a time to actually see the results at the end and not get so overwhelmed. They also told us, like, sometimes it's just about having the right people, not necessarily too many people that are actually committed and that are motivated by being part of this change, which was also important for us, like understanding that it was not just a matter of telling everyone, but maybe just like, hey, if you want to be part, keeping it, yes, to within the people that are willing to give time of their lives in these kinds of projects, which is basically the nucleus of everything that it's from a community. And being part of this OLS cohort was amazing, because we actually got started with creating our website and understanding which were our aims in the long and in the short period of time. And I'm happy to say that now we actually have a website, which I will also share, and some other channels of communications, like a WhatsApp channel that actually works a lot for Latin America and Argentina in particular, maybe not for other countries in the world, but for us it's a really useful channel of communication. And yeah, also trying to do some activities, participating in conferences and getting more people involved with the project. So really happy and thankful as part of the team that was part of it with OLS. And also, well, thanks to that opportunity, I was lucky enough to have been invited to participate. I mean, probably others in this call as well, as mentors of other cohorts, of other projects, which I think is also one of the best things from this type of community, the fact that you can get engaged in other projects, and suddenly the mentee becomes the mentor, which for me was a bit like, should I? But at the same time, understanding that mentors are not there to know everything, but also maybe to guide you with previous experiences and learn at the same time with the mentees. So that was, even being a mentor, it was one of the best experiences, learning things, which I really recommend if someone hasn't done it yet and they get the opportunity. So just wanted, to give a little bit of the background of how was my engagement with OLS and a bit of these lovely communities of practice that are around there. So thank you, Sarah, for organizing this. And it was also amazing hearing all of the other stories from the other people.
Thank you so much to you and to all the rest of the speakers. It's such a delight to hear, all your different journeys, all the different paths, different, but, similar in too many spots, aren't they? So yes, it's just always so fun. So we do have time for a few questions. I'm going to get you all in here for all of you to participate. So I'm going to first open the floor for the attendees brave enough to unmute themselves and ask a question if they want. Five seconds more. We do have several questions in the Framapat. So there's one that I really like that actually goes to most of you from Nico, who had to leave early, but it was like, so he wrote, in times of low intrinsic motivation, like what makes you keep going with your plans, with your communities? Is it the fun, the duty, the money, the learning, career prospects, the friends, others? Who would like to give their 2 cents? Emma, thank you.
So I mean, with my Vitalith community, that really is my passion project. So I just want them to do better. I really do. Yeah, as I said, it came from my own struggles in my PhD, that I got really frustrated with the lack of data sharing, the lack of sharing of methods. So I just sort of like, it was my passion. I just want people to do better. I want the discipline to be better. So that's why I kind of keep going. But it is difficult. We as a project, we did better, and you could probably see from my slides, my first timeline had lots of activity on it, and the second timeline had less on it. And because the first bit of the timeline, we had like 2 people paid to work on that project once we got funding. And actually that really boosted our work and really set us off in a good direction. And since one of them was me, and I had a postdoc that was working with me. And since both of us have moved on to other things, everyone on the committee is now voluntary. So it really has become a completely passion project for all of us. And actually, it has meant that our capacity has reduced, or we've had to focus our capacity on specific things each year. We kind of choose something we want to do. So yeah, but we all have the same passion, that we just want our discipline to be better, to produce more rigorous work. And so we're all kind of very focused on that sort of shared vision, which is really what communities are about, isn't it? Having this shared goal.
Thank you. What about the rest of you? Is also like the passion, or do you also make a lot of money? I would be very surprised that is what brings you in times of low motivation. Yes, Virginia, please go ahead.
I think the passion is probably something that unites us all here. I mean, it would be lovely to get paid for it, but we know that it will maybe be impossible for everyone to get paid. But also, being part of a change and knowing that you're doing something that may benefit others, at least for me, at a personal level, feels so rewarding. And of course, sharing with the people that feel the same way and share the same values, I think you also get an opportunity to have like friends that are so important in your life. So I don't know if the rest of the people also had similar experiences in that way. But yeah.
Okay. Can I go ahead?
Please go. Yes.
Okay. I think for me, it is slightly not passion, yeah, but it is more of the element of hard work, and you realize that for most time, hard work stretches beyond sometimes the element of hard work and effort, even when it's boring, even when you feel like tomorrow is not sure, even when you are like, where will the grant come from? Even when you're not sure, but you realize that continuously putting the element of effort as a way of refining your character. So you realize that despite the hurdles that comes with an example like the Trump policies, like you realize that at the end of the day, you are not shaken, even when startups are mostly closing up. The element of effort keeps you awake. It's more like how we always say when it comes to safeguarding the Constitution, when we talk about eternal vigilance, like you are always putting yourself out there. Sometimes even when disappointments are much, you realize that that element of continuously trying as a way of refining your character, that you now become resilient in your practice. And you realize that at the end of the day, even with startups, even with companies, even with the NGO, that those who triumph at the end are those who are more resilient than the others. So for me, it's doing it even when it's boring. It's always looking. And at first it's going to be boring because sometimes you look at the roadmap and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But you realize that by continuously doing it, then it becomes, you develop a character. So for me, it's about that element of effort that refines your character, that makes you to be a founder in character, even when you are not yet a founder by recognition. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. No, thank you for sharing, Magak. I want to ask one last question because I think it will be quite interesting for the audience. So this one was more directed to you, Sabrina, but I think I'm not sure if Riva had to leave already, but yeah, I know that we have a lot of Latin American community in OLS and that will be seeing us. So it was like, from your perspective, like what are the main challenges in Latin America at this point? So like, what advice would you give like someone like you, a young scientist that is starting their journey now in open science, from that perspective?
Yes, I think that the biggest issue is the from this side of the world, openness can feel some like extractivism sometimes. It's a risk that you have in mind, a fear that you have in mind. And for example, my mentors in the university were, oh, okay, yeah, let's share, but not yet because they can steal our results. And this is a fear that is in all the world, but we know that the inequities in the world makes that the unrepresented parts of them can be more sensitive to that stole of knowledge or stole of data. So I think that that's a big issue in the region, that in the idea of open science is shared by everyone, but in the fact in the everyday science is hard yet to share because you have that fear. And the other one, I think, is that the institutions are slightly behind this new change about how science is a public good, and how we can improve that public good. And sometimes activities related to open science are voluntary and are in the time out of your current work for research, and that makes that it's not recognized for the system, the scientific system. They don't have impactful metrics to check that you are working in a better science in another way that is not to making papers every time. And so that's it's not a good incentive to researchers. So I think that we need to change our institutions to make that our work is going to be recognized, because if not, the downside is that only people that have the opportunity to give their time for these causes is the one that do it, and that is a problem for representation of other people that can afford giving their time for doing this amazing work that we all do, but others can do too if we give them the resources. So that's the two main things that I can think right now about that topic.
No, that's yeah, I do see, I do agree with you like so much. The extractivism, I like that, like, because I think that's my forever argument every time I go back to Spain. And yeah, we still have that mentality. But yeah, totally agreed. I just want to thank you once more to all of you, because it's 3:02, so we are already running late. Thank you so much to all, to your discussions, your time. It's been amazing. And yeah, I hope to see you in our next and final one next week. But thank you so much again. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you
Everyone.
You and
all.
all the
Thank you,
best,
OLS.
everyone.